All right, everybody. So we got to talk about this article here. It's been sent to me by numerous people, and I saw that the translation was being worked on. I didn't actually realize the translation was done until, when I got this article, and I got this article sometime around Friday. So let's talk about it because I've seen people that are already covering this, and as you know, when it comes to this type of stuff, I bring a very, very nuanced and unique perspective, not to mention that if you have been following this channel, if you've watched the streams and videos that I've been putting out going back to late last year from the announcement of Daima and even a little bit before then, we've talked about the behind-the-scenes power struggle between Akio, Shueisha, and their fight for Dragon Ball. So if you've been following what I've been talking about here on the channel, you're already somewhat abreast of the situation. However, this is the first time that this is actually being talked about in the public space now. And as you can see right down here, well, you might not be able to see on your screen. Oh, yeah, you do. It's right there. Interview by Soichiro Morita in Weekly Toyo Keizai magazine, translated by Chronicles. So this is from an actual magazine in Japan. Now what we've been talking about here on the channel with Capsule Corp Tokyo's foundation and the butting heads behind the scenes, it is now public with even more information that I was not privy to. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Make sure you leave a like if you're stopping by, and I can explain all this to you, and make sure that you share this out because I know some people are going to read about this and be confused and not know what's going on, but I'm going to do my best here to go and tell you what's going on with this article. Since its serialization began in 1984, Dragon Ball has remained a highly lucrative IP that continues to captivate people. According to the app research company Sensor Tower, the two Dragon Ball mobile games, including Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, which began distribution in 2015, have surpassed a worldwide total revenue of 5 billion yen by February 2024. Now, the other one's obviously Legends, which has also done very, very well. Both Dokkan and Legends have been very lucrative for the Dragon Ball IP. The movie Dragon Ball Super Superhero, released in 2022, achieved a global box office revenue of 13 billion yen. And remember, that's without even the best promotion. It still did well. In Saudi Arabia, a theme park of comparable scale to Tokyo Disneyland is also set to be constructed. We talked about that here on the channel as well. This should be news to nobody who's subscribed. And if you are subscribed and you haven't gotten a notification, make sure that you hit the bell and enable all notifications. That way you're told with every single video that comes out, you're at least notified of it. So that way you know when they drop and you can watch the video and keep updated. So here's where the news starts getting rather interesting. Let's go ahead and get to it. It says here, in March, the original author Akira Toriyama passed away, much to the regret of many. However, the momentum of Dragon Ball shows no signs of slowing down and continues to accelerate worldwide. Regarding its appeal, those involved unanimously agree it's the simplicity. When we analyze why the games became hits in North America, it seemed that the straightforwardness of let's fight to see who's the strongest, which can be enjoyed without much thought, resonated with people, said an insider from Bandai Namco Group. I don't know, that sounds a little weird to me to say, well, you don't have to think too much. That is true, though, that the simplicity of the games, which in some ways, to get really good at games like Tenkaichi, you do have to learn to be an advanced player. Same thing for fighters, but to get into the Dragon Ball games is easy, and Dragon Ball games have always been a gateway for new fans to learn about the series by playing the games first. Major uproar due to person in charge going independent. Last year, there was an incident that caused an uproar in the business over this work. In May 2023, Akio Iyoku, former head of Shueisha's Dragon Ball Room, went independent with several subordinates and established a new company, Capsule Corp Tokyo, named after a fictional company that appears in the series, with the aim of managing creative activities and handling intellectual property rights. Mr. Iyoku became the head of the Dragon Ball Room in 2016 after serving as editor-in-chief of V-Jump. And I want to clarify something else about Iyoku. Iyoku is one of the only people to have direct contact with Toriyama. Everything that appeared in Dragon Ball Super, even the anime, went through Iyoku. Iyoku is a very powerful man. I called him Toriyama's right-hand man for a reason. Even the Toriyama work that he'd made for Dragon Quest, which isn't even something that Iyoku is involved in, even the stuff he did for the video games, Iyoku would look over. I mean, that's how close he was to Toriyama. Like, he literally was almost like Toriyama's connect to the rest of the world, although there's a very small number of people that do have access to him directly. A Shueisha insider recalls, without consulting his superiors, Mr. Iyoku unilaterally decided to make a film adaptation of Toriyama Sensei's Sandland. Now, that's an interesting story I want to go over just for a moment. What you have to understand about this Iyoku story and the Sandland thing is, and we got to make this clear, Sandland is not Toei. Sandland is Toho Films, the same company that put together Godzilla, Pokemon, Ultraman. That's who did Sandland, not Toei. And I remember seeing a lot of people ask me why Toho is doing it and not Toei. Well, I didn't know. Now we know, because Iyoku set up that deal directly with Toho and cut Toei out. Now, that's interesting because Toei is obviously who Shueisha's partnered with when it comes to anime adaptations. So, again, this all starts to make more sense now as to why there was so much heat on him, at least with the Sandland project. He always focused on serving the author for better or for worse. See, that's the thing about Iyoku. He always focused on making sure to preserve what Toriyama wants above all. And that's important because at least we know the purity of the story through Iyoku is safer than through somebody else. At the same time, there was criticism from anime production companies and TV networks that he had a condescending attitude. See, that, again, that could be possible. A lot of people in power have that. Moving on. In addition to these evaluations, progress was lacking in collaborations with the metaverse and AI that the higher-ups were anticipating. So what basically is going on is Toei and Shueisha wanted to use AI for Dragon Ball, and Iyoku said no. I, for one, am in agreement with Iyoku. How many people took a dump on Iyoku when he started Capsule Corporation, and there were people saying that, well, he's the reason Broly came back and the series won't advance? And I was telling people, like, no, he wants the series to advance, but he pitched Broly and pitched Gohan as the lead to Toriyama because he knows what's popular. He knows what connects worldwide, right? That was his whole thing. He's more of a marketer than a storyteller. He's not a writer. He is a marketer and an executive, not a writer, right? Now, again, he did not want AI. They wanted AI. I don't like AI, especially when it comes to art, whether it be drawn on a piece of paper or digital art, or whether it comes with like movies and stuff like that. AI is not the way to go. As a result, in 2022, he was reassigned to a new business department. This unwelcome transfer became the trigger, and within a year, Iyoku went independent. Again, all of this has been talked about in videos I've done in detail, especially the video I did, Where is Dragon Ball Super? Why Dragon Ball Daima? I go into explicit behind-the-scenes reasons as to why Daima exists. And the reason why Daima exists is because Shueisha chose not to continue Super as an anime for the time being until the manga went ahead. And that there's more detail in that video. I'll leave it in the card at the upper right. All of this has been discussed in detail, but this is new information with more details, actually, that I didn't know about and that I don't think anybody knew about because this is super inside stuff. Let's continue. Taking over the role of Toriyama spokesperson on behalf of Shueisha, Iyoku's actions raised the risk of Shueisha losing its Dragon Ball rights. That wasn't going to happen. Toriyama Sensei was also dissatisfied with Iyoku being removed as he trusted him the most. Chairman Marue Horiuchi of Shueisha even went directly to Toriyama's residence in Aki Prefecture, but he couldn't persuade him to stay. So the guy from Shueisha went to Toriyama's house to talk to him, and Toriyama was still siding with Iyoku. That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. It's a crazy story, said the aforementioned Shueisha insider. This put Bandai Namco, which had been making a fortune with games like Dokkan Battle, in a difficult position. Iyoku, who was Toriyama Sensei's spokesperson, became independent, but the rights of the manga were managed by Shueisha. It was unclear as to who to consult regarding matters related to the original work. Which again, remember, Capsule Corp Tokyo was originally supposed to take over production of the anime and the games, not taking over Toei and Bandai, but working with them through Toriyama instead of it being through Shueisha. This is a situation right here where Shueisha wants control and Iyoku wants control, which again, we've talked about it before. Now it's actually being talked about in public in a magazine. Meetings about Dragon Ball were organized very vaguely, with all relevant parties being invited, which subtly included both Iyoku and Shueisha representatives, making the coordination extremely stressful, said the aforementioned Bandai Namco insider. Toriyama's passing occurred amidst this battle over rights. The discussion is continued without the original author, and disputes have been ongoing and still remain unresolved, noted a Shueisha employee. So right now there's behind the scenes turmoil and infighting over Dragon Ball. Now, I'm not sure if this is just about what's going to happen with the old stuff or also with Super. We've been wondering where the hell Dragon Ball Super has been. We've been wondering what, like, is Toyotaro still recovering from the passing of Toriyama? Is he being put on ice by Akio? Lots of different theories. You know, I've spoken to people from behind the scenes who have said that at no point have they been told that Dragon Ball Super is over. So it's still open. And it seems like what's going on here is, at least from my assumption based on this article, is that they haven't decided what they want to go, because they got to go past this first. The discussions continued without the original author, and the disputes have been ongoing and remain unsolved. So even without Toriyama, it's still going on. Some industry executives are looking towards a resolution that involves the family, saying it depends how the family feels about it. So it'll be up to Toriyama's family, his kids, to decide. Remember how that story came out about how Toriyama's son would be taking over Dragon Ball? A lot of people, once again, they report information wrong, don't know what they're talking about. That people assume that that meant that the son was going to actually start writing Dragon Ball, like writing stories. That's not what that means. It means that he ends up taking over the estate. He ends up taking over Bird Studios. He ends up being the guy to take over for Toriyama as far as answering questions and things of that nature. So he's the one that basically gets the cut of whatever's made. Nowhere does this say that he's going to be the next writer or that he's even an artist. I don't believe he's even an artist. So it's mostly, he has to be the one, at least him and everybody else in that family, to make the decision. The question remains who will ultimately take the lead in managing the massive IP. The future of the bogged down battle, which is not befitting a shonen manga, remains unclear. Well, I don't know about that, because there are a lot of bogged down battles in manga, but certainly not that many. Nevertheless, though, this seems to be the story that until this gets resolved, like, they're right now just waiting. I guess everybody, whether it be Toyotaro, whether it be, other people in the Dragon Ball room, they're probably waiting for this to get resolved. But now it's in public turmoil because Akio wants to go one way, Shueisha wants to go the other way, just like with Dragon Ball Super. It's exactly like what I heard about Super. That 2019 thing, that was Akio wanting Dragon Ball Super to come back, and that wasn't the case. So apparently Shueisha, once again, I would rather Akio take over because he actually cares. a hell of a lot more than Shueisha, and of course he wants the super anime to eventually come back too, among other reasons. He's not perfect, but that's my pick. So on your screen right now, if you've missed on a lot of this news, I've been trying to keep y'all up to date. There are some videos that you must watch, not just about Daima, but also the video I put out late last year about the behind the scenes. Watch them now. Take care of yourself. See you in the next one.